Welcome to A Year in the Bible with Daily Grace. The Bible tells one big story of redemption, and we want to spend 5 minutes every day journeying through the Bible from start to finish and exploring how all of it points to Jesus.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to A Year in the Bible podcast with the Daily Grace Company. My name is Kyra, and I'm a staff writer here, and I'm so happy to be here with you all today. We're going to cover Deuteronomy chapters 4 through 6. In these sections, Moses used a lot of command statements, and if I were to highlight a few ones that stick out to me, I would identify the verbs listen, learn, guard, and obey. Moses called the Israelites to follow the word of the Lord. Their obedience would set the Israelites apart as God's holy nation. Pagan people groups would marvel at the wisdom and the righteousness of the Israelites and wonder where they received such grace. Of course, the Israelites would point to Yahweh, the true God of the universe, who in his loving kindness chose them for his own and rescued them from slavery. God's character would be on display, and he would get the glory. Moses urged the people to not forget the law. He told them to examine their hearts diligently for any sin. God had committed himself to the Israelites and promised to bless them. In return, they must exercise faith in him by obeying his law. This covenant was exclusive loyalty, and it revealed that God was passionate about his people. Moses emphasized that the Lord was a jealous God. Now, we often think of jealousy as a negative character trait. That is often true for sinful humans, but God is not like us. His jealousy was centered on his goodness and love. He was jealous for the people, meaning that he greatly desired a relationship with them. He wanted them to receive all life and fullness in him and not settle for imitation gods, which would lead them to destruction. After preparing the people, Moses then listed the 10 Commandments. We have probably heard these before. These laws were not burdensome or unreasonable. Rather, following the law was to be a sign of their gratitude for salvation and of their love for God and their neighbors. Furthermore, following the law was practically beneficial. It showed them the path to a righteous life. In Deuteronomy 6, 4 through 5, Moses also told the Israelites to learn a special phrase. The phrase was, "The Lord our God, the Lord is one. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength." Moses told the Israelites to repeat, teach, and display this verse everywhere they went. It would remind them of the call on their life. Living in God's love would not be passive, but an active worship unto him and resistance to the pull of sin. Righteousness in life was promised if they obeyed the law and commands. But based on their track record in the wilderness, we know their faith would be lacking, and we are the same as them. Sinners, we do not obey God's commands. On our own, we will not love the Lord. The law exposes our sin and shortcomings, but through the law, we learn what is required for life with God, and we see how Jesus fulfilled these requirements. Jesus came as the obedient Son, perfectly kept the law on our behalf. His life, death, and resurrection were the ultimate displays of worship to God the Father. In him, we are clothed with his righteousness, which erases the debt of sin and makes it possible for us to obey. Like the Israelites repeating the commands, we should continually preach the gospel to ourselves to remind us of the saving work Jesus accomplished and of the call to love God with our whole selves. Thank you for joining us today. Be sure to follow along on Instagram at Daily Grace Podcast and at The Daily Grace Co. Also, check out our website, thedailygraceco.com and dailygracepodcast.com for additional resources. For a deeper dive, we have the Story of Redemption studies available to accompany the podcast and on the Daily Grace Co. app. We look forward to talking with you tomorrow.